Hello, Pastor Joel from Chico First here. And to be blessed by God is to be the recipient of Him, to know Him in Jesus. To belong to Christ is to belong to God as our Father and to be heirs of all that God owns. And the blessedness of those who know Jesus is described by Jesus Himself in the beginning of the Sermon on the Mount and His famous Beatitudes. And you can go and look at those. To be blessed by God is familiar to us. We talk about that a lot. But what I want to talk about today is what does it mean for us to bless God? Because to bless God isn't to give God something He doesn't already own, because none of us can do that. But it's to declare that who God already is blessed. He's already blessed. And in that sense, to bless God is like praising God. Blessing God is a particular kind of praise of God. It's to say that God in His own person and in His own deeds and actions is blessed, is good, is perfect, and is right. In Psalm 103, David tells himself to bless God. He says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul." And the basis for this blessing is remembering who God is. That is to forget not all His benefits, verse 2 says. And if you're feeling that God is unfair or treating you badly, then the best solution is to remember. Think along with David in this psalm of all that God has done and all that God is. Because he tells us that God forgives all your iniquity, verse 3. That's an abundant reason right there to bless God. We're forgiven through Jesus. He says God heals all your diseases, verse 3. Our diseases aren't finally and fully healed in this world, or else none of us would ever die. But the healing that we do experience from time to time in this world is a foretaste of the full and total healing that we will one day experience with Him in His presence. And then God redeems your life from the pit, verse 4 says. He lifts you up from the pit of despair and alienation, and so that we can be a part of the family of God. He says in verse 4 that God crowns you with steadfast love and mercy. God gives you a crown of supreme honor of being loved by God. Verse 5 says God satisfies you with good. There's so much that's good that God gives, but even when He withholds some temporal benefits from you, God Himself is the ultimate good, and He gives Himself to you. God ensures that your youth is renewed like the eagles, verse 5 says. And while physical age and ailments can rob us of physical strength, those who are rooted in God and in His Word will continue to bear fruit through all of the seasons of life. And there are many reasons to bless God because of His benefits. But not only that, remember how God has rescued the oppressed, verse 6 says. Remember the story of Moses and how God rescued His people from slavery. And so this God will not always chide, nor will He keep His anger forever, verse 9 tells us. In fact, as far as the east is from the west, so far does He remove our transgressions from us, verse 12 says. How great is this a reason to bless God? Our transgressions, our sins are entirely removed from us through faith and dependence on what Jesus has already done for us in His life, death, and resurrection. We are to bless the Lord, for the steadfast love of the Lord is from everlasting to everlasting on those who fear Him, verse 17. And David concludes this psalm saying, angels, mighty ones, all the hosts, all His works in all places of His dominion and His own soul, bless the Lord. Let's take time to bless the Lord for all that He has done. God bless you.